Hi, this is Dr. David Moffat, the coach, consultant, and owner of the Ultimate Patient Experience, and you are listening to hashtag POD Podcasts of Dentistry with Dr. Panks.
This podcast is sponsored by Rocketbook at podcastofdentistry.com/rocketbook. I hate wasting paper, and if I could, I would not use pen and paper at all. But I love the feeling of writing with a pen and a nice paper. Somehow I feel connected to it. But I always hated the fact that I cannot bring my ideas to the digital world. Now, Rocketbook is the exact amalgamation of both the physical and the virtual world. Here's how it works. You can draw or write on the Rocketbook. Take a picture with the Rocketbook app and magically it cleans the picture and sends it to Google Drive, Evernote, Dropbox, OneDrive, OneNote, Slack, Box, iMessage, or even classic email. Just configure the symbol once. That's it. Everything goes to where you choose it to go. When done, you can use a moist paper towel and you can erase it, only to be used again, simply saving paper. Head over to podcastofdentistry.com/rocketbook. Today is a very special episode about what we are facing. Yes, you guessed it right, COVID-19. So I'm bringing you an expert to talk all about COVID-19, how to prevent and how to tide across this pandemic. His name is Dr. Raghunath Puttaiah. He has a long list of achievements, and I would only say this: what he says and talks about, the viruses and the precautions, he says that with a solid foundation. If you're interested in his credentials, he'll speak about them in first few minutes of the podcast. And if you already know him, you might want to skip a few minutes. This podcast was recorded a day ago on 18th March 2020. So some numbers mentioned will change. Please keep that in mind while taking some decisions based on the information of this podcast. Dr. Puttaiah shares all the information and suggestions and discussions to prevent COVID. I personally think the next 2 weeks are the most crucial, but who am I to predict that? Anyways, why don't we listen to Dr. Puttaiah share all what he has to share? I've posted a COVID-19 mind map also for you to download at podcastofdentistry.com/COVID mind map. I hope we all take adequate steps to make sure we all tide across this pandemic safely. Please reach out to us at podcastofdentistry.com/Facebook. Without further ado, Dr. Raghunath Puttaiah.
Yeah. So,
For people who don't know you, why don't you just tell them so that people take you really seriously and what you're doing, with us today.
Okay. So, Dr. Dhingra, as you know, I'm actually a graduate from India. I graduated in 1983 from the University of Mysore as a dentist. And then I was in private practice in India for a couple of years, and then I joined the Indian Council of Medical Research and the WHO and I was stationed at Kidwai Cancer Institute. It's a regional cancer institute for India, the second largest one. And my job was, as a research officer, I was an research officer dentist, but my job was as an epidemiologist and a clinician. So I was actually a shoe leather epidemiologist going to 72 villages and at their doorsteps examining patients for oral cancers and precancers. After I finished 3 years of that, I screened about 30,000 people in those 3 years. After that, I came to the University of Alabama, did a master's in epidemiology. And since I was a dentist, they said, why don't you do a dental public health residency? And then they offered it to me. I did that. But that was the time when HIV and AIDS was really becoming the pandemic.
Yeah.
And Johnson & Johnson had called for a postdoctoral fellowship at the University of Texas Health Science Center in San Antonio Dental School. And basically the father of dental infection control, Dr. James A. Catone, he selected me as the first candidate for the fellowship in the country. And for the next 4 years, I did my postdoctoral fellowship out there. It was in the school, highly clinical, highly didactic, and I had an advisory board that actually worked with me. There were people from Jim Crawford from North Carolina, all the leaders in infection control, and Walter Bond from CDC. So these people actually trained me in what I am. And once I was done with my fellowship, I took up a tenure-track faculty job at the dental school in Dallas, which is Texas A&M College of Dentistry, or it used to be called Baylor College of Dentistry. And I joined there in a late 96, early 97. It blends in, pretty much. And I retired last year in September as a fully tenured professor. And my job has been a very strong clinical job, but I've been teaching infection control, OSHA, and HIPAA all around the world. I serve as the scientific director for the International College of Dentists for the worldwide dental safety programs. In other words, I have to travel to those countries and train a handful of people to be experts for their country. Okay. I've done a lot of federal grants, industry grants. I've been a reviewer for the Journal of American Dental Association, Journal of Dental Education. I'm a ad hoc, editor at large for the Journal of Contemporary Dental Practice. So, yeah, I've been doing quite a bit, and I also own an educational company now. We educate people in infection control, OSHA and HIPAA. We do it through Zoom live videos, office by office. And for those who want me to come and do it in office, I do that too. And my company is OSHA for Dental LLC. I'll share the link to it later during the day.
Yeah, I think
so. In short, that is what I am. Yeah.
Oh no. Well, it's not in short. I think it took you all those years and to get you here.
Yeah.
For those, I know Dr. Puttaiah only through Facebook, and we connected for my audience, and we have, in a way, some common friends. My teachers were his colleagues, so basically we are in a similar area. Similar people, and more or less we connected here as friends and colleagues. Thank you, Dr. Puttaiah, for sharing all that. If somebody has any doubts about Dr. Puttaiah's credentials, please shut down this podcast and go home. I think he's done more than enough. So please tell us a little bit about. I don't want to go into the epidemiology because I know dentists are not interested in epidemiology. Sure. People are interested in, the key facts about coronavirus. Why is it different than any other flu virus, what we have? And why can't we get a flu vaccine and be done with it? Why is it taking that long to contain it, basically?
Let me give what I'll do is I'll just give a very simple, structured overview because we're all professionals, Tomorrow, if we run into a patient who's a virologist and asks us, what do you know about, COVID? We don't want to look silly. So let's go off here. So the sources of coronavirus is basically animals, camels, cattle, cats, bats, and humans, of course, now. So there are 7 types of coronaviruses, okay? But 3 of them are of concern to me. Basically, the MERS, the SARS, and the current SARS coronavirus 2, it's called, or it's now called COVID. So basically, these are zoonotic diseases. They're exotic zoonotic diseases. They normally spread between animals, But when we encroach onto the animals, habitat, we get either bit by a bat or we pick it up from a camel or something.
We don't know.
And we get it. So now what concerns us the most is this is now a human to human spread disease. Okay. So most of my sources of information are either the Centers for Infectious Diseases Research and Policy, the Centers for Disease Control, WHO. Then I actually look into many countries' ministries of health. For example, China this time has come out with, the Ministry of Health China has come out with quite a bit of really good information. So worldwide, we've already crossed 160,000 people with over 6,000 deaths. In the US, it's every day it keeps changing.
Right.
3 days ago, it was 3,000 infected and 60 died. Today it's over 4,000 something, and it's already reached 100.
Wow.
So the exponential growth is very huge in this thing. They say that the case fatality rate, as we say, or the death rate, is anywhere between 1% to 4%. But that is among the diagnosed cases.
Okay. Okay.
The identified cases. So we don't know how many have been misidentified and died. But at least once we start doing the surveillance, we'll get to know the number better. The older, the more frail you are. If you're more immunocompromised, you're more susceptible to dying, not getting the disease. Anybody is susceptible to getting the disease, but dying are the people with underlying conditions, age, and so on. Okay?
Now,
the roots... Yeah, go ahead.
Sorry to interfere here. So that's a very key important point, because I was reading through 4% mortality rate, but I think you put a very big asterisk there saying that for the people who are diagnosed, people who are not diagnosed can also die, as you're saying.
Exactly.
But won't they be diagnosed anyways, unfortunately, after... For example, somebody who is not diagnosed, who passed away, won't they be still considered to be in or counted towards the mortality of undiagnosed plus diagnosed cases?
Morbidity, yeah. See, the thing is, if you're living in a rural area.
Okay.
I'm not talking of the US per se, but just think about in India. The guy is, living in a place where it's already, it takes him 2 hours to get to a taluk headquarters or a small, a county health center.
Yeah.
What if they die? As if the medical doctor is going to come there, do an autopsy on him? No, they're not going to do that. He will not even be considered a case until and unless they actually do the test and find positive tests, And then once he tests positive, and then they can say, okay, he could have died because of that.
Now, what about the countries in the US then? What about people in the US? They have relatively more.
Here it is considered a reportable disease, of course.
Okay.
So anybody who falls sick these days with certain signs and symptoms, they will have to be tested.
Okay.
And then goes on and then registered if they're positive. And after which, if they die, they can say that they died because of this, given the condition.
Okay.
Yeah. When it started in November, when I was telling people, boss, this looks like the SARS number 2 has come into the picture. And I'm worried about it because, when in 2002, when SARS hit the US, the SARS actually brought the world to a halt in 2002, 2003. Yeah. We couldn't travel. Schools were shut down. Offices were shut down. In our dental school, they wanted to shut it down, but I said, how can you shut it down except for oral surgery? Let's maintain a skeletal crew, for each department. Then we had students come through in rotations. And we taught them how to use personal protective equipment and everything. Then they also said, oh, it's only going to be droplets. And I said, none of these will be droplets, because when a person coughs or sneezes, not all particulate matter are less than 5 microns in diameter. If it's 5 microns or more in diameter, it is gravity dependent and it settles to the ground or onto a person. If it is less than 5 microns in diameter, it is light enough to float and stay in the ambient air for hours. So that is called a bioaerosol. So I told the people, I mean, that's what they say. It's only going to be droplets. And I'll tell you one thing, in 2 weeks, they'll say, we saw cases where nobody was coughing, but they were just breathing the air.
Okay.
You know?
Okay, yeah.
So that changes the whole scenario. You know, if it is droplets, you can stay 6 feet away from a person and still kind of protect yourself. But if it's bioaerosols, you'll be breathing it anyways. It's going to be stationed in your air. So the roots of, the possible transmission is through droplets, contact, fomites, like if somebody coughs and it falls on a surface and you by chance touch it with your hands and then touch your eyes, you can pick it up that way. But what concerns me the most is bioaerosols. It being aerosolized and staying in the air for hours and hours on end. Okay, that you cannot, sequester people by distance.
Right.
That means, you have to put them in an airtight chamber, and that's impossible. But for dentistry, one of the, then the common signs, common symptoms are there could or needn't be fever. That's the funny part of this one. Because they're already transmitting the viruses. They're shedding the viruses even without a high fever. Okay. Before the clinical symptoms, before they can clinically be detected, or they're already spreading the virus. That's the funny part. In SARS, you used to have temperature, and then that's when they would be shedding the virus. They shed the virus when the viral load becomes high.
So potentially a patient would walk into the clinic and he has no signs of big coughing or no fever for sure, but he's just sneezed once, just regularly. You'll think, okay, he's just sneezed, whatever, but it could be a bioaerosol which would stay in the air for hours and hours together, and we are obviously breathing that, and that can cause the spread off. Okay. That's scary, actually.
And then when they start developing, symptoms, signs and symptoms, myalgia, body aches, difficulty in breathing, respiratory distress, they can't breathe, they have to be put onto a ventilator. This thing can happen, as early as 8 days from when they pick it up. Then some people say there could be coughing dry, but that again is with sputum or without sputum. That's a toss-up again. There's nothing definitive about it. So the ones who fall sick, some of them they might need immediate tertiary care, like being put in an ICU with a respirator because they can't breathe.
Wow. Wow. And that is usually that usually happens in I'm presuming in more immunocompromised patients, like frail patients, or do you think diabetic patients are equally susceptible?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Uncontrolled diabetes.
How about cancer patients?
Cancer patients who have come out of chemotherapy, radiotherapy. All these patients fall under any condition which suppresses your immune system. Think about it. Can be any chronic ailment, even if there's a major micronutrient deficiency, that can cause your immune system to be suppressed.
Wow.
Now, in a healthy person, Banks, think about it. Monday morning, after the weekend, we feel nice and refreshed. We go to work. By the time you put in about 8 to 10 hours every day, come back home, play with your kids, take care of your kids, cook your food, do your dishes, do your clothes, clean your house, walk your dogs. You come to Friday morning, you're already dying, right? Friday. Yeah. So why do you feel like you're tired? At that time of the week, possibly you're a lot more immunocompromised than a Monday morning.
Oh, makes sense.
It could be a healthy person. It could be a small phase of a week. So those are some of the things, which we need to be worried about. Now, control measures. There are multiple things you need to do.
Okay.
I'm not talking for social living or doing your groceries or for a common citizen. I'm talking of people involved in the profession of dentistry. Dentists, dental hygienists, dental assistants, dental lab technicians, front office people, all of them. Yeah. It's only for them. And I'm only going to talk about dentistry. If you ask me about anything else about social living, I'll tell people, run for the hills. Don't listen to me. Or go find Oogway. You know who Oogway is?
No.
In the Kung Fu Panda.
Okay.
That guy who's the grandmaster, the turtle who passed on.
Yeah.
And he's there. The grandmaster Oogway. Go to Oogway and ask him. He'll tell you what else you can do.
Okay, got it.
But for dentistry, I consider myself at least partially close enough to Oogway, but not dead as yet. So there are basically four major items you got to consider, in infection control, especially for this thing. Number one is communication.
Okay.
Communication with the patient. Okay?
Yeah.
Communication, you must be proactive. In other words, for all the scheduled patients at least, you need to call them at least a day before and confirm that they are not sick.
Okay. Wait a minute. Right here. What if some patients just want to get some work done just because they are what they are, and then they say, you know what, I'm fine. They could lie, right? How do you figure that out?
So when they come in, you can ask them if they're feeling okay. So that's the next one. On your door itself, you can post also for walk-ins, people who are going to be just doing a walk-in. Post a notice on the door saying that if you're not feeling well or if you've been exposed to anybody who's been sick, if you've been hospitalized recently, or if you've been to any of those hard zones, please call us back and schedule, until and unless it's an emergency. If it's a true emergency. Then, that you can do. Then on your website itself, your company website or your dental clinic's website, you need to go ahead and put a notice on the website, like on the ticker tape if you want to. If you're not feeling well, please do not come into the clinic for care, because most dental care is elective. But if you're in pain, you can call us and we can try and schedule you in. If you have a scheduled appointment and you're not feeling well, please call us and we can reschedule it. Okay?
Got it.
That's another thing. Then suppose everybody skips in and they come into the front sign-in area.
Yeah.
During these times, you may want to hand them a small form with the same questions they can fill out.
Yeah.
And also there you can have a small plaque which says, if you're not feeling well, please don't. Please go home, and you can always call us and reschedule.
Right.
That's not, unless it's an emergency.
Sure.
Most of what the government, the CDC, the Dental Association say is a lot of dentistry is elective.
Right.
And some of those elective procedures will create splash or spatter or bioaerosols. Right?
Right.
Try to control or reduce those procedures.
Okay.
You can still be open. You can handle emergencies. You can handle pain. You can handle other items. You want to take x-rays? Sure, go ahead and take x-rays. Do your diagnostic workup. Schedule your patients for the next few days. You know, if somebody needs a tooth extracted without, not as a surgical extraction where you have to use a handpiece and a coolant, you can go ahead and, do a regular manual extraction of that thing. Suppose, you just somebody's crown has fallen off. You can re-cement the crown or make a temporary crown for that without doing a prep. You see?
Got it.
Like a kid comes, a case comes in and says, my silver crown has fallen off. Sure, you can either pull the tooth out or you can place another silver crown. You don't need to go and prep the tooth. Yeah. So anything which increases bioaerosols, try to control it. You can postpone long-standing hygiene cases where they need to use an ultrasonic or a piezo scaler.
Got it.
If it is a follow-up thing, which is a regular patient follow-up, every 6 months they come for prophy. At that time, they can use hand instruments. There won't be that much amount of calculus and,
Yeah, I understand. Yeah, just try to minimize the aerosol production. That's
polishing the teeth also is a bad thing during this time. You may want to use the hand instruments and say adios. It's okay.
Okay.
You don't need the rubber cup is not going to make it even more shinier that much. I mean, you can skip that once.
Yeah.
If you may want to actually give your hygiene an assistant also during these times, because their assistants may not be busy. They can do four-handed hygiene. The assistant will be handling the high volume evacuation for the hygienist.
Okay, that makes sense.
You'll be reducing bioaerosols out there. You can have external, suction equipment which are available. Those devices are there, which come and hang right across from the patient's face and do the suction. It's like a kind of a cup. It's like a big flower that comes out, and that also reduces bioaerosols. Yeah. Those are some of the things you can avoid generating aerosols. Now, if a patient is in serious pain or a fracture, if there's a fractured tooth, there are only two things you can do: endo build up at a crown, extract a bridge or an implant. So you may want to evaluate that and then extract it if you want to, or try and save it. Try to avoid using a high-speed handpiece. If you want to do occlusal adjustment, you don't need to have water or the water spray coming out. You can use a steel burr and a high-speed and a slow-speed handpiece.
Okay.
It might take another 5 minutes more, but big deal.
I understand what you're saying.
Suppose you have to do a really, really important high-end procedure. At that time, you can probably use an irrigant like a chlorhexidine gluconate, like an irrigant which they use for prophies.
Yeah.
You can use that in your handpiece. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so how would that work again? How do we put that chlorhexidine into the handpiece?
All the chairs have independent reservoirs, independent bottles, right?
Yeah.
So you put it in and use it.
Okay. Do we dilute it, basically, you're saying?
No. Use it as an irrigant. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just like the whole chlorhexidine bottle could be used as, we would put that chlorhexidine bottle.
There's nothing against that. I mean, these are extreme times. You need to take extreme measures.
I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, then, so you can control. if somebody is coming for just preventive care, you can say, no, man, we'll do it. Once this thing cools down, we can do that. No fluorides, no, yeah, no sealants, no, all those things, they can do it later.
Okay.
High-end items. Now, everybody freaks out. Oh, we'll be infected. Now, tell me one thing. Who's trained more in infection control and occupational safety? The patient or you?
Of course we are. Yeah.
We are professionals, right?
Right.
Who are trained higher in infection control and safety? A medical doctor, a general practitioner, or you?
Me. I mean,
You.
Dennis. Yeah.
Dennis. Yeah.
Yeah.
We should not equate ourselves to picking up something in a restaurant or a bar or on a bus or in a airline. This we are doing professional work. Sometimes we'll pick up stuff. Yeah,
Okay.
we do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's another thing, okay? So the next level is work practice controls. Work practice controls are what we can do. Strict personal hygiene. Wash your hands as many times as you can. When you take your gloves off, wash your hands. Before you wear your gloves, wash your hands. You touch any surface, wash your hands.
Okay.
A lot of people say, oh, you can use alcohol rub. An alcohol rub will not last on your hand. I mean, as soon as you put it, it'll not kill everything. In fact, when they say 70% plus more alcohol percentage,
Yeah.
or more alcohol, those things that alcohol will fix dirt on your hands. If you're going to use that alcohol, you can spray your alcohol and wipe it down spray it all over your your hands, and then wipe it down with a paper towel. That removes the dirt as well. Or you can use a pre-soaked, a paper towel.
Okay.
To wipe your hands. If you can wash your hands, that's best. That's the best. Next is using a wet wipe with a antimicrobial. The last would be an alcohol for me. Yeah.
Now, I think people are panicking. General public is panicking, and believe me, we don't have sanitizers. We don't have sanitizers available wherever. None of the stores have it. So, is there a way out? Maybe.
So here's the thing. Before we put the diapers on for the babies, there's something called the baby wipe.
Yeah.
No, seriously.
Okay.
If it can make a baby's butt clean, it'll definitely clean your hands. I'm not joking. No, true.
Okay.
I keep
hear
some
you.
in my car all the time. Suppose I can't wash my hands sometimes. Yeah. And those are available in the grocery stores. No toilet paper. But I tell you, I at least know 100 sites on eBay that are selling toilet paper.
Oh, I believe
Where
you.
did they get it from? Yeah, they're scalping,
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
I don't like this alcohol gel or alcohol spray. All those are good only after you wash your hands to kill the remainder of the germs.
Okay.
But when your hands are dirty, the bioburden on your hands itself denatures the alcohol.
Okay, got it. I got it.
Right?
All right.
Then,
yeah.
face masks. Something, all these people hype about, level 1, level 3, N95 respirators. So the mask, the mask we use in dentistry. Sorry, excuse me. Yeah, the masks we use in dentistry, they are not respirators.
Right.
But they're great for all that mask does is if someone coughs or sneezes, the particulate matter will settle on the top of the mask. It will not go through the material of the mask.
Okay.
The bioaerosols always will go through the up and the sides, up, down, and sides. It's called blow-by.
It's
So
called
the
what? I'm
purpose
sorry?
of the mask, the bioaerosols,
Yeah. What is it
will
called?
go to the side of. It's called blow-by.
Blow by. Okay.
It
Yeah.
does
Yeah.
not
Okay.
blow through, it's a blow-by.
Yeah.
So the masks designed for dentistry are purely for particulate matter. So it doesn't get into your nose or your mouth directly. That's all. So, and people who say, "Oh, I'm going to use an N95,"
Yeah.
unless there is a face fit,
Okay.
it is not a respirator. It is not an N95. See,
Okay.
the N95 they say means it has to filter out 95% of 0.3 microns or larger material through that materials through the mask material.
Okay.
If it doesn't have a face fit, there will be a blow-by.
Blow by. Okay. Okay. Okay.
So a regular mask is good. Change them as often as you can. Between patients, you can change them. But since even those are not available, you can use it for more than one patient or two patient or three patient. Don't dirty it with your dirty hands
Okay.
or
Yeah.
your gloves.
Yeah.
Take your gloves off, grab hold of those things and take it over and place it onto your onto a desk or something like that, onto a barriered surface.
Yeah.
You have the next patient. That is, if you have to use it for more than one patient. The minute you see it visibly soiled, you have to change it.
Sure.
So, that is masks.
No.
If you can also use a mask and a face shield.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, those are good. But
Now,
most people just like to use mask and loops. Yeah.
Now, are you trying to say that if we have the regular masks, which does have a blow-by, they are still okay to prevent a potential virus infection? Are you trying to say that? Or are you saying that it doesn't really help? Even N95 doesn't help because it's not really a close fit most of the time.
Exactly. What these masks are designed is for particulate matter. Large particles settling on your face or on your mucosa, nose or mouth.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
Your high volume evacuators.
Yeah.
Your HVE.
Yeah.
Your rubber dam. Those things help remove the bioaerosols.
Okay. I got it.
So there has to be diligent use of that. Then, strict aseptic techniques. Don't touch something contaminated and touch a clean surface. Make sure you follow simple aseptic techniques. Okay. Diligent surface disinfection. Use a intermediate level hospital disinfectant.
Like a Cavicide.
To wipe down. Pardon?
Like what we order from Cavicide, like from Banco or wherever we order from Cavicide. Do you think it works?
Cavicide works, but of course, for SARS-CoV it should work. But that's not my favorite because that is the lowest class of disinfectants. Quaternary ammonia compounds are the weakest disinfectants. You have phenolics. It's our Dolphin Technologies or Dolphin Pods, it's called.
Dolphin Pods. Where do we order, all of this?
I'm not sure. This is a new one which has just come out. There's a company called Toppen Dental. Toppen, Toppen. They're based out of Massachusetts. Toppen Dental.
Okay.
Massachusetts and Arizona. Those two places they're based out of. You can check their website. It's a new device, a good concept, actually. Then of course, Sycan makes Optim.
Okay.
Optim disinfectant.
So
That's a good one.
Optim, Dolphin Pods, and Top and Dental we can buy Dolphin Pods from Top and Dental. Is that what you're saying?
You should. Yeah.
Okay.
You should.
So now they are they're used for, instead of cavi sides or cavi wipes, we use Optim. They are better. Is that what you're saying?
I prefer them. Yeah, sure.
Okay, got it. No, that's fine.
Yeah.
Because this is new for me,
And
so
let
I
me
just
tell
want to
you,
make sure.
I am a hands-on researcher. I have done research on both those devices, and
Yeah.
it's paid by the same companies.
Okay.
So don't worry about that. And all of that, I did it when I was a professor at school.
Got it.
You know, nobody pays me for my lectures or speeches.
Sure.
They pay me for my research or for my professional time. After that, adios. A lot of them don't like me because a lot of them, about 80% of them bring crazy stuff and they expect it to work. It doesn't work under standards.
Standard. So I think sorry to interfere here, but I think this is important because some people think that we all get a kickback out of giving these recommendations. What you're trying to say, there is no kickback except that you've done a research on it and you feel they're really good based on your research when you were a professor working at
Correct.
different universities. Okay, makes sense. Thank you.
Right.
Yeah.
And and another thing is we disinfect all the high-touch surfaces, but here, during this time, it's a good idea to disinfect door handles, doorknobs, common areas, wipe down the chairs between patients, even the side chairs at least once or twice a day. Wipe it down with the disinfectant.
Yeah.
The armrests, so on. Take away all the toys which you leave for the kids outside.
Okay, no toys.
And if you have any electronic games out there, ban them from touching it.
Yeah,
because
no toys, magazines. Yeah.
Yeah, keep that area clean. It should look like a jail cell.
Okay.
Thane, as you say, in India.
Yeah.
Thane. Yeah. Then hand instruments for prophy is good. Now, if you normally take X amount of time, right? Do the tooth, be focused on that item and send them home. Boom.
Got it.
That's reduce patient visit time. When you get home, get out of your scrubs, wash them immediately. Put it into the washer.
Oh, okay.
Your scrubs, your socks, your jacket, whatever. Dunk it in there. Go have a shower, then get to your family.
Oh, okay.
Personal hygiene is.
Yeah. Okay.
If somebody's coughing like me and sitting in your waiting area, you can give them a face mask so that they don't cough on others.
Fair
or
enough.
You can give it to them and ask them to go home. Yeah. Okay? Now, those are some of the work practice controls. The next thing you have to have is engineering controls. For example, the more high volume evacuation you use, the lesser the bioaerosols. Okay? You could use isolite or isolite-like devices which are there in the mouth that tries to remove as much, bioaerosols as possible.
Right.
Four-handed dentistry, where the assistant actually is diligently removing, the splash or spatter and bioaerosols.
Right.
Use of rubber dam that reduces bioaerosols.
Sure.
Then think about air scrubbers. Air scrubber. So these are devices like you've seen those filters, which portable filters you can use in your room.
Yeah.
But these are high-end ones where they have multiple layers of HEPA filter, carbon filter, and so on.
Okay.
And they also have an internal high ultraviolet light chamber.
Okay.
Very high. Okay.
Yeah.
So the air is sucked in through the filters, and whatever air goes into the chamber is zapped with the ultraviolet light.
Okay.
and then recirculate it back into your room.
Okay.
So these are both portable devices, and they can be hooked into the ceilings. I'll send you a couple of lists. In fact, Glenn also put some out.
Okay.
He sent me some information. I'll send the information to you as well, so you can share it, with everybody.
Yeah.
Now,
Why not?
This may be a time when you can actually get it installed in line into your HVAC systems.
Okay, wait a minute. This is complicated.
Into the high volume. No. The heating and air conditioning systems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
these devices, they have devices which actually go into that, which purifies air for hospitals, schools, childcare facilities, nursing facilities, and so on.
So you're saying instead of having the one in the office per se, you should have one called as inline HVAC inside
you can
the
have,
HVAC.
these are the options you have.
Okay.
You can have it, per operatory, or you can have it inline. And you can have laminar flow. They'll come and design laminar flow so that whatever air is there flows away from people into a suction area much easily.
Okay, got it.
So those are some of the things which you could do, and those things are like engineering controls forever. Next time when you have, let's say, a huge influenza epidemic comes up and you have to use the same methods.
Okay.
You already have these things in place. Yep. The last one is immunization and other measures.
Yeah.
I advise everybody to go for their flu vaccines. Annually, I ask them to go for the TB skin test.
Yeah.
I ask people to go for an annual physical. Do your best,
Okay.
Then, in about a year, if they can actually crack the COVID code, they might even incorporate this into the next influenza vaccine or other vaccines.
Sure.
When it comes out, go for it, because we don't want to fall sick because of somebody else. If we fall sick for 1 week, the whole clinic is shut down pretty much, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah.
Not
only will you lose income, your assistants and hygienists, everybody lose income.
Right.
So then the last thing is eat healthy, plenty of fluids, exercise, and rest.
Got it.
And try avoiding big communities. No dhamakas.
No big parties. I got it.
Especially the Punjabi ones. Punjabi ones are the toughest ones.
I'm the one. I'm one of those Punjabi ones.
No, they're uncontrollable after a couple of beers and good food. And then there's a kid doing Bhangra.
Yeah. For those who don't know what he's talking about, actually, there's a section of India called Punjabis, and they're basically they party people, and they just want to have 1 or 2 beers, and they with good food and good friends, they just party. So what Dr. Puttaiah is trying to say is try to avoid big communities, big parties, so that you're not transmitting COVID-19 to others, and so it's a fun way of saying, or not pick it up too. Now, I think so. These are I think you've gone through a big list of all the topics and all the important topics, what we should do. Now, I have some questions in 2 or 3 different other forms. For example, thinking of, let's start with the ideal thing. Okay, let's start with the ideal thing. Should we completely close the office or not? I think that's a big $1 million question right now.
If you follow what I said, you don't need to completely close your office. You can reduce your load.
Yeah.
Instead of keeping 8 ops open, you can keep 2 ops or 3 ops open.
Yeah.
You could have a skeletal crew.
Yeah.
You could make people take time off. to stay home. If they
So why do you think? So you're saying we can work with the skeleton crew, and still be okay. But why do some states like Massachusetts, California, they have actually mandated not to open up the offices? What is their thought process versus yours among those specific two states? And I'm sure there are others which I don't know about.
Sure. Well, some states have not mandated. Some states have mandated. It all depends upon their caseload and their level of caution. I mean, I cannot. Now, if you go onto the state boards or the state boards or the association membership, how many of them are in infection control?
I'm not sure.
Exactly. Now, some states are overtly cautious also.
Okay.
California and Massachusetts. There's nothing wrong in that. Some states like Washington State, I don't know what they have come up with. I don't know what New York has come up with. Ohio's come up with a statement. Yeah. Most of the people who make a call at that level, they have to be really cautious because it's always a double-edged sword for them. If they make a strong call, then dentists will be griping, oh, now we can't go to work. We'll be losing money.
Right.
If they say, okay, go to work, then there'll be a bunch of dentists who will be saying, oh man, this is a huge epidemic.
Yeah.
And they're not bringing in regulations.
Right.
So both, all the people at that level are cautious, but they're optimistic that this will blow over in the next 2 weeks or 3 weeks.
Okay.
I don't see that happen. It didn't happen with SARS either.
Yeah. It's actually worse than that. SARS.
Right.
Do you think it's worse than SARS and MRSA, what we had, MRS?
No, MERS. MERS. You're talking about MERS? No. Yeah. The rate at which it is it's exponential climb. It's caused more number of shutdowns already than SARS.
So it's a bigger deal.
We are at the
all agree.
We are at the beginning of it.
Right, exactly. So we are in a bigger. So it's a bigger deal. Now, with your experience, how do you say? So, are you following up with China's COVID? The whole story in the sense, has it gotten stagnant over? That's what I read, at least, that it has gotten stagnant. And
yes.
How much time did it take for China to get that plateau with whatever they did?
December through last week.
Right. So almost 3.5 months.
Exactly.
Yeah. So 3.5 months. Do you think it's gonna take a similar amount?
My optimistic. Yeah. If I'm going to be optimistic, I would say a minimum of 2 more months we'll keep seeing cases. But I'm hoping it's not going to be climbing and climbing and climbing and climbing.
Okay.
I'm optimistic about that.
Okay. So when do you think it can plateau in the US? Yeah. Nobody's going to say anything.
No, I know. I mean, see, plateauing is also based on modeling. Modeling, it's basically mathematical and statistical models. And your modeling has to have excellent sampling.
Yeah.
We don't have that many cases of excellent sampling. We don't. So your margin of error is going to be wide. Your standard error, your standard deviation, depending on whether you use multiple samples or one sample, it's going to be wider than having a huger sample.
That makes sense. That certainly makes sense. Now,
and maybe in 2 years we'll get to know. Yeah, in 2 years we'll model it even better, given 2020 hindsight. You see?
Well, hindsight is always 2020. No, hindsight is 2020, and what I'm trying to come at, what I'm trying to find out is, I'm thinking like a practice owner. I'm thinking like a practice owner who, okay, if he closes, okay, we all can close for 2 weeks. Okay, we can take that brunt. Okay, maybe you, me,
Sure.
and everybody can take a brunt. It's okay, But is it going to get worse after 2 weeks, you think? Because if it is going to get worse and we have to close for 2 more weeks, believe me, I'm sure there are certain new startup dental offices who don't have money. They'll lose, the staff would lose, the unemployment would come into picture. How do you think, based on your experience, nobody's gonna point it to you, but I'm trying to, learn from your experience, what is in store in the next 4 weeks, based on your experience with MERS and SARS and now COVID-19.
Okay.
What do you think?
I feel that it's a good idea to take these 2 weeks off.
Okay.
Gear yourself up. Go back and practice your procedures well in advance. Get back to the clinic and you'll be fine. Will there be people who will fall sick? Sure. Will there be people who will not fall sick? Sure. Can they sue me? No. Because I'm not that rich. But that's what what I'm saying is I've seen this.
Yeah.
I've seen this with multiple. Well, there were times, in the late 80s and early 90s, or mid 90s.
Yeah.
Dentists didn't want to touch an HIV patient.
Fair enough. Yeah, that's fair. Because of less of
That's
education, right? Yeah.
Exactly. When I said you got to use your gloves at that time for treating every patient, I knew a couple of endodontic faculty members who would clip the tips of their gloves because they would have better proprioception.
Yeah, I know what you're saying.
How stupid. Now, on the other hand, I was in another country, a fairly advanced country, and then there was a professor of oral pathology who took off his gloves and wanted to feed an intraoral lesion because he felt that is the best way to feel it.
Wow. Okay.
And this is not a boony country, sub-Saharan Africa, or some boony in India or something like that. No.
Yeah.
This was fairly a medically advanced country. And I just looked the other way and people were shrugging their shoulders because he was one of the senior most guys in the country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you. So, so in 2 weeks, it's going to get, so now let's go back to the ideal thing, what I was trying to talk. The ideal thing is that we all dentists should be working on a skeleton crew and reducing down the bioaerosols. And
sure,
that's okay.
No, it's my dog. Big guy, he wants to always come in with me.
Yeah, my big guy is sleeping next to me. I have a dog too. I just I saw your picture. Yeah. Anyway, so what do you think is the ideal thing to do? Again, shutting down for 2 weeks and only only keeping skeleton crew and doing the emergency procedures. And how do we manage and balance out in the time of, I'm thinking like a business owner. I'm not a business owner myself. I'm just an associate. But I'm saying I have my friends who are business owners, and I'm sure that these questions are everywhere. What if I give him or her an off and my office is closed, but my bills are piling up? They will pile up, if not for 2 weeks, but maybe after third week and the fourth week. What if it gets worse after the third and the fourth week? What is your thought process?
One second. He's kind of whenever.
My question is, with your experience, nobody's gonna come at you, and if somebody does, we're just talking. We're just.
If they want to come at me, they can come at me. Yeah.
No. We are only trying to assess with your experience. That's all. Nobody knows everything. So my concern is, do you think the next 2 weeks are crucial for the US, where the cases are going to increase dramatically, and then we have to shut it down for the third and the fourth week? Is that better as a business owner? I'm not talking about as an economy, or I'm just talking only about the business owner versus closing it down for 2 weeks now, and then it might be a better scenario third week and the fourth week. What do you think based on your experience? I know it's a tough question. You can't answer correctly, but
Okay, it's not a tough question, because what I would have done is, right now there are testing kits available and testing centers have increased.
Right.
So what they're bound to find, if there is an organic growth of the disease or spread of the disease, they're going to find a lot more cases now because they're testing more people. That is called detection bias.
yeah,
The minute more people are reported to have been sick, the press will be all over it and people will freak out even more, and they might shut you down for another 2 more weeks.
yeah.
You see?
That's what I'm saying.
Right. Now, if in the next 2 weeks we don't find that escalation of an increase,
Okay.
then by then the minds would have also settled not only the cases. You see? See, even if we go, all dentists and dental staff go, we are less than 1 million people.
Right.
Okay, we go to work. But aren't we kind of like essential services? We are. We are like child care. I mean, daycares, centers.
Yeah.
We are like old people's centers. Just imagine if all of them shut down. How many of your staff can actually come to work? How many of the dentists can go to work? That easily. How many hospital, staff and doctors can go to work? So the machine cannot come to a halt. The machine will go on. There will be cases. We will see. What I feel is in the next 2 weeks, we will see the increase in number of cases, and I hope it is not an increase in the rate of case occurrence, or the incidence of the cases. Yeah. But then if we identify them early, we can monitor them early, we can treat them early.
Okay.
You see?
Yeah.
And we can sequester them early or quarantine them early.
Yeah.
Compared to SARS and now, China has done a fantastic job for COVID as opposed to what they did for SARS.
Okay. All right. Now,
And
why do
they
you
can control it that
think?
well.
Sorry to interfere. This is a very annoying question for me personally. Why do you think all those things start from China? I'm not trying to be, but I'm trying to understand why SARS, MERS, now COVID, somehow they are originating in one or the other parts of China. Why is that a reason, you think?
Okay. So, where did Ebola come from first? Ebola came from Africa, right?
Right.
It came from the fruit bats. So somebody must have gotten bitten by a bat.
Right.
Who was probably hunting in the forests, brought it to his village, and then it spread all over some area. In China, they had the H1N1, SARS. They eat a lot of exotic meats.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
That's their culture. Yeah.
Okay.
And then once a country becomes wealthy, see, maybe in the past only the Mandarin could afford all those kinds of meat.
Okay.
25 years ago, if you went to China, it was nowhere as advanced and beautiful and wealthy as it was 2 years ago when I'd gone to Chengdu.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So the
Got it.
affordability of all foods and things, it's become commonplace now. So if, let's say, if it is a fad to eat a bat, let's say all the youngsters would love to, what do you call, show off, and they'll go eat one. Maybe.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, more number of youngsters can afford it. And when people can afford it, instead of it being in the caves, it'll probably be brought to the market and reared in the market in small cages.
And that's how it spreads. Okay. So basically exotic food.
In Africa, probably we went into the habitat of the wildlife.
Yeah.
But in more wealthier situations, wildlife is brought into the market and made into domestic produce.
Okay. Okay.
So it can then, MERS came from camel origin in the Arabian subcontinent.
Okay.
And then from Arabia, it went to South Korea, of all the places.
Wow.
Why is it occurring in South Korea and China? And why is it spreading? I'll tell you why. Because the world is now like a marble. When I left India, 87, 88, that time.
Yeah.
Flying to the US was a big thing. It used to take me about 32 hours to get there.
Right.
Now, I can land from Dallas to New Delhi.
14 hours, 16 hours.
No, I mean, from Chicago to New Delhi, there used to be a direct flight. Before, American Airlines used to do that. But now, I have to go to Toronto and then take a flight to Delhi. So Dallas to Toronto, Toronto to Delhi. It's not far.
Yeah.
It's like flying from here to New York, and if there's a good connection, boom, you're there in 14 hours or 13 and a half hours. If there's a good tailwind, 13 hours. So, and people can afford to travel everywhere. People go everywhere. They do business everywhere. That's why we see more diseases coming in more often. Before in the past, if SARS had to come, they would take probably 30 days to travel by boat from China to the US, and half the people would have died. And the rest would have survived, wouldn't have the disease.
Right. I understand. It's basically globalization. It's basically the globalization, which is okay. All right. All right.
So this is what you have to. If you're forced to shut down, you have to do it. You can't do anything but that. But how long will the government want you to be forcefully shut down? Yeah.
Now, would you, I don't know if it's a right question and it's up your alley or not, but talking about, assistants or the staff in a dental office being told to take it off, and they would file for unemployment and things like that. Do you have any information or idea about such things, such information? Do you know anything about that?
No.
Okay.
No.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm already inundated with my own subject matter.
Yeah.
And
sure. Yeah.
And I do a lot of online training and then I hardly have any of the time for that, But I see that there are trying to have programs as such. But think about it, having some kind of an insurance, will help.
No.
But I'm sure if you want to go for that, they will charge an arm and a leg too,
Yeah. Now, somebody who doesn't have any symptoms, but they, we all dentists are considered to be high risk in getting such a coronavirus. We could be infected with them easily. My question is, when is the right time to get a test done? I know some patients, some dentists I know have gotten the test done prophylactically, just to make sure, they are not infected right now, when is the right time, you think, to go ahead and get the test done?
When you're not feeling well, contact your family physician, or as soon as possible, go to a doctor and get it done. If you don't have any signs and symptoms, don't worry. There might be a chance that somebody else who's fallen sick has exposed you. At that time, you will be notified by the doctors, by that person's doctors, that you need to also get a test done. See?
Okay.
Yeah, there is no timeline on that. I would say if you're not feeling well, then go. And go immediately. Don't waste time. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, I think at the end of this discussion, I'm still trying to find out what would be the best case scenario as a country to control this spread of infection, and the second scenario as a business owner to not lose business and still control the virus, right, the spread of virus. So what would, in both the scenarios, what would be your recommendations?
Okay. See, right now, what the government is trying to do is flatten the curve. What they mean flatten the curve is 50 people don't come to your clinic at one time.
Yeah.
Okay? So your facility is not going to be forced to shut down like a bar or a restaurant.
Right.
The chances of them picking up a disease in your clinic is lesser than them picking it up in a restaurant or on a bus or on a plane. You see? You get that?
Yeah.
So, that is one of the reasons why they haven't made every single clinic shut down. They all have 32 teeth and that have felt toothache at one time or the other.
Right.
They know how important dentistry is as well. They know that we follow much higher standards of infection control than most other professions. We do. But some states, some states have stronger labor laws. You see, Massachusetts and California has stronger labor laws. So they are forced to make a stronger decision. That is one thing. See, so people coming to a dentist is not going to increase or decrease flattening the curve. You don't go to the dentist daily. You go to the dentist once in 6 months at best, and we hope everybody comes once. You have phenolics, you have hydrogen peroxide based ones. You have hypochlorous acid based ones. You have hydrogen bromide based ones. So the ones which are available in the market, I mean, the most simple one I would think is like Optim surface disinfectant, comes both in wipes and sprays, so you can use those. That's a hydrogen peroxide based disinfectant. That's pretty good. Then there's another one which is a hypochlorous acid one. It's recently been introduced into the market. I don't get its name. Cases coming down, they'll ask you to start going back. Everybody to start getting back to normal, but still be cautious. If the cases start increasing, they'll probably maintain it at this level. And restaurants and those kinds of businesses will be hurt more than we will be hurt.
Got it.
The longer they make people wait from accessing their dental care, more problems will the patients have, and there'll be a lot more emergency cases.
Right.
Right? So So what I would say is, be cautious, be open. Just because you didn't get it, it doesn't mean that you're not going to get it. Just because you didn't get it, it doesn't mean your other staff members cannot get it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you've been healthy all time, and then all of a sudden you feel that you've got it, and then you have to inform a whole bunch of people. So it's not going to change it one way or the other in a prediction manner. But what I would say is, hopefully, if all the tests go well, if we don't identify that many extra rate of cases, the incidence is not higher because of the testing.
Yeah.
Then the government will automatically tell you guys down, and it should kind of come to a decrease or a control in about a month and a half. Worst case, 2 months. But if things they find, if it's still not flattening out, it may go up to 3 months.
Now, so it took 3.5 months for China to bring it to, stabilize it. Let's flatten the curve, as you say, number one. Number two,
right.
Do you have any information about how Italy and other countries are doing? I mean, obviously, and of course, US. I'm only saying we have two experiences or two countries who are ahead of us in a way how do you think, how long, even if now we certainly know more than what China knew or Italy knew, we certainly know more than them. And do you think it could take, is it going in a similar direction, in a similar exponential direction, just like China or Italy?
I think so. Yes, I think so. Except we've learned from two countries, and we're learning from the whole of Europe. The thing with Italy is they have some of the oldest living people in the world.
Yeah.
And yet all those old living people are very social people. They hang out together.
Are you talking about Florida here? Are you talking about Florida here in the US?
Also.
Yeah.
Probably.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm talking of Italy. The country. I'm not talking of Florida, where it not only attracts all the Americans, they even attract the Canadians.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's what I mean. In Italy, the cases, there are a lot more cases of older people who have got infected and died. And remember one thing: Italy has got better, ICU infrastructure and respirators infrastructure than the US has. They have a lot more hospital beds than the US has. US has less than 1 million emergency beds available, functional. They might have, a few 100,000 respirators. That's it.
Yeah.
We have 320 plus million people. China will never face a shortage because they always manufacture.
Okay.
We do.
All right.
So it's a learning process even for any government, be it politically, be it a Republican, Democrat, or an independent government. Everybody's going to make mistakes.
Yeah.
Even if Teddy Roosevelt was there, he'd have made a mistake on this one. Let me tell you.
Because they don't know. Yeah, they don't know what to expect.
Exactly.
Okay.
But let's hope it goes well. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for all the questions and answering, and certainly we'll continue, exploring this. And I know you have pretty active social media group, Facebook group also, and we can
I'll never get COVID from social media.
Well, let's stay home then, right?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Would you like to get a really small email a couple times a month to see what #POD is up to? What are we reading? What are we listening to? What are we doing? What's stupid, funny, entertaining, and some weird stuff that we've gotten ourselves into? then go to podcastsofdentistry.com/extra. EXTRA. That's right, podcastsofdentistry.com/extra. And you will get a really small email from us to give you that little extra kick and keep you busy exploring the world we travel. You can also find us on Facebook at podcastsofdentistry.com/Facebook. Thank you for listening. #POD. And I'll see you inside.